My name is Dr. Justin Spees. This past November, I filed a lawsuit against both the City of Lawrence Commission and one of its mayors for violating my right to free speech and equal protection under the law for silencing me multiple times during general public comment. Part of my lawsuit challenged the subjectivity of the City Commission's public comment policy, specifically that general public comments should be limited to issues and items germane to the business of the city. Your motion to dismiss my lawsuit states, quote, the challenged speaking policy of the city is not unconstitutionally vague because a person with ordinary intelligence would understand what speech is prohibited by the policy. Furthermore, the policy does not create a specter of arbitrary enforcement. The text of this policy provides ample opportunity for an ordinary person to understand what speech is prohibited during this portion of the public meeting. This policy is plain and simple. It provides that if a speaker wants to provide testimony during the general public comment portion of the meeting, the speaker is plainly on notice that his speech must be germane to the business of the governing body. There is no ambiguity in the text. Rather, it straightforwardly provides adequate notice to the comments that the comments must be germane to the business of the governing body, close quote. At last week's meeting, I spoke during general public comment about this lawsuit, and while doing so, I pointed out inconsistency after inconsistency in the city's subjective interpretation and application of its speaking policy on items germane to the city's business. And you, Bart, stopped me and said it wasn't germane to the city's business. And then you said because of that, I was disrupting the meeting and asked the police to remove me again. Thing is, during my allotted time to speak, I spoke specifically and only on the inconsistencies in your past meetings. I presented specific examples of how at your past meetings I was allowed at some times and then not allowed at other times to talk about COVID, and also that I wasn't allowed to even mention the phrase USD 497 before being removed from the meetings for supposedly not being germane to the city's business. I then also presented specific examples of how other speakers were allowed to talk about those same items that I wasn't allowed to talk about. My name is Dr. Justin Spees. At the July 18th, 2023 City Commission meeting, I attempted to speak during general public comment. I introduced myself as having started a protest in 2021 against the child mask mandate in effect at the USD 497 school district. Mayor Lisa Larson stopped me from speaking and said, quote, what does this have to do with the city? Close quote. I then attempted to read a research article on the negative effects of wearing COVID masks. I was again stopped by Lisa Larson, who said, quote, you are not speaking about something that is germane to the city, and you are not talking about items that are germane to the business of the commissioners, close quote. This incident is part of the lawsuit that I have filed against the commission for violating my rights to free speech. In the city's motion to dismiss my lawsuit, the city contends that, quote, plaintiff provided testimony that was irrelevant, disruptive, and hindered the commission's authority to conduct an effective and orderly meeting. When the commission enforced the policy, it was not discriminating against plaintiffs' viewpoints. Rather, the commission was enforcing a reasonable restriction on speech to orderly and efficiently conduct the public meetings, close quote. If merely mentioning USD 497 is not germane to city business and disrupts the meeting, then why was Speaker Alchemy Roenick allowed to say at the January 17th, 2022 meeting, quote, this year, USD 497 is expected to make $9 million worth of cuts to the community's children's education, including closing several schools, close quote. How is that relevant to your business? Why was USD 497 school board member Carol Cadu Blackwood allowed to introduce herself as a USD 497 school board member at the September 12th, 2023 meeting? Her introduction mentions USD 497 like my introduction did. Why am I allowed at the March 7th, 2023 meeting to introduce myself with the exact same mass protest language I did that got me stopped later at July 18th meeting, and I'm allowed to read an article on COVID masks not being effective? Why was I not stopped that time? Why was I allowed at the April 4th, 2023 meeting to do my same mass protest introduction plus mention the vaccine clinic protests I attended? I was even allowed to read an article on COVID vaccines. And again, at the December 19th, 2023 meeting, I'm allowed to say that I started a USD 497 mass protest. I'm allowed to read an article on the harms of masking children. Why was I not stopped like I was in July of 2023?
Sir, is this having to do with any
at the April
germane to the city of Lawrence business?
Oh yeah, I'm suing your asses over it, so it's definitely germane. This is the lawsuit. Like I just said, Bart, can you stop my time, please? This is germane because I'm suing you. This is a lawsuit brought against the city and the mayor right there, Lisa Larson.
Sir,
why was I not stopped like I was in July 22? What is it, Bart?
I'm cautioning you. I'm wanting to run an orderly and efficient meeting.
What am I doing wrong, Bart?
I'm just
tell me how this isn't germane.
Please don't be disruptive.
Tell me how am I being disruptive, Bart? How am I being disruptive? Can you stop my time? I'm having to defend myself for 20 seconds now. Tell me how I'm not being germane and how I'm being disruptive, Bart. Please tell me. How does this lawsuit not impact?
Sir?
Now I'm not allowed to even say what I wanted to say. I had a whole thing written out here. Now I got to stop and defend myself. My time is still going, and I have done nothing wrong to deserve that. I'm mentioning a lawsuit and the inconsistencies that are happening in your meetings under your watch and under Lisa Larson's watch as mayor, and all you guys, as far as I'm concerned. And now no.
Sir,
My general public comment was
that's your
not
time.
to come up here and defend the germaneness of this. I was stopped with 45 seconds remaining. I was stopped with
Sir,
45 seconds.
That's the.
Be rational, Bart. Be rational. Give me my 45.
no.
Give me. You're not going to be rational. Give me my 45, man. Be fair, Bart.
Sir,
Be
I'm
fair.
going to have to ask you to leave.
You stop me, Bart.
Yes, because of the germaneness of what you were
Okay,
saying.
then explain to me how it wasn't germane, Bart. How was my lawsuit?
Sir,
against
at
you
this
guys-
point, you're being a disruption. So I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
I'm not going to leave, Bart. So go fuck yourself. You can ask me all day. I'm sitting down and I'm just going to attend the rest of the meeting. I'm not even. I'm staying.
Recess again?
Is that your call?
What? It's. Or should we use?
Just go.
Sure. What's that?
Just go forward.
Just go forward.
Yeah, we got it.
Just go for it.
All right.
Speaking of something
Who's
germane,
next?
and I'm
Who's
told I've been
next?
disruption.
We're not going to exit him at this point.
Why not?
So we are almost at the end of the meeting.
Hold on a second. I was just asked to leave.
Yep. Let's continue on.
What?
So questions for you. I need you guys to explain to me how a person of ordinary intelligence would know what's germane to the city's business if talking about the inconsistencies that take place right here in these city meetings by you, the city, is not germane to the city's business. Does it get any more germane than that? Also explain how a freaking lawsuit the city is named in for violating free speech at the city meetings isn't germane to the city's business. How would you explain that away? Doesn't get any more germane to your business than that. Recently, LJ World reported that the city has spent $26,000 on this lawsuit and another one. They got that figure from an open records request. That alone, that it takes an open records request to obtain financial information from the city, proves that my lawsuit is related to the city's business, but also the $26,000 the city has spent defending itself is the taxpayers' money. So explain how the city's tax money expenditures is not germane to the city's business. Talking about an item the city is spending tax money on is somehow off limits in here. How could it not possibly be any more germane? How am I or anyone supposed to know what's germane to the city's business if city tax expenditures and city lawsuits aren't germane? And so that creates what's called unpredictability and the chilling of speech. And it's a subjective interpretation and application of your policy that leads to discrimination against me and my viewpoints. It's viewpoint discrimination.
I'm